Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. And you really start seeing how beloved your mighty companions are and how precious the joinings are. It's like right up into all the love there is through our brother. Very inspiring. You know, I just asked Jesus, you want me to keep doing these light circles? It's like, yes. It's what a gift it is. What a gift it is to be for these beautiful reflections of dedication to infinite, and how we can't do it by ourselves, even though there are times when we really do. Not much anymore though, because after a while you just see what a precious gift. You're like, you just start welcoming those joinings. Welcome, welcome. It's like the welcome mat to Jesus, every joining. And it builds our confidence that Jesus will be here for us. Several beings have reflected, the concern that Jesus wouldn't go all the way or somehow they would be left. And it's really helpful to ask Jesus that question so you can hear it in your heart. Jesus, will you be with me all the way? To hear that that's his only function, and just feel that sing in your heart. Like when he told me that day and we were all together and I could hear him say, the only thing you can be sure of in this world is I'm here to help you out of it, take you out of it, lead you right home. And you can ask him now, Jesus, is that your only function? He'll tell you he has no other function. And that we can't be apart from him. He lives within us. Ask him, Jesus, do you live within me? It's so mysterious. How does that work? How can he get to everybody? But you see, it's happening. Like it was so, like Kelly and I were joining. We heard the same thing, like at the same time. It was like, she said, I'm hearing it at the same time. It was more than once. It was like, he's saying that to me now. It's in stereo. Like Dyra in the translations. And we need that. He says, you need that. You need to see. You need to see the stereo system with your brother. And as these joinings continue, it gets funnier. It really will get funny. It's like, I love that video with Elliot. I know some of you seen it, but it's so precious because it really captures that divine power when he's speaking to you and you speak it. And you could see it. It was like, what a reflection for all of us. Because I don't know, Muji calls them detonations, and I can't think of a better word than that. I cannot find a better word. It's the wisdom of that master for sure. It's like a little detonation. It's like, oh, right. I ask him, that's the whole gig, isn't it, Jesus? He's going, yes, it's just a little, oh, right. It doesn't have to be some kind of big, the ego's the one that makes the mountains out of the molehills. Ask them. It can just be oh, there's just light here. No, Jesus is kind of no muss, no fuss. Ask him, Jesus. Are you kind of like no muss, no fuss? He's really very simple, direct, very direct, simple. We need directness. I asked him that. I said, Jesus, you sound really direct. I can hear him now going, well, you need it. And I know I do. I know it. We know it when he tells us something. You just know, he's right. However that miracle of hearing Jesus's voice works. Point out all the desire to say no. And just yawn. We just find this is like the yawning just yawn it out. The energy just releases. Everybody's yawning. Yawning's welcome in this club. You know, like in society, it's like this terrible thing. Oh, you're yawning because you're bored. In this case, you're yawning because you're releasing all that subconscious tension. The intention to be something other than we are. Intention is tension. And when you start looking, it's just a little steam coming out of the kettle. That's all. He said he wasn't going to just toss us out there. We pretend like we want him to just, okay, show me everything, but we really don't. You can ask him. Ask him, Jesus, am I willing to see all of it? You can hear, no. That's why he's in charge of the plan. That he'll show us as much as we're willing. Ask him, Jesus, will you show me as much as I'm willing to see? Oh, I can hear another I'm asking him. He's saying, yeah, another spontaneous joining tomorrow. It might be later, closer to like 4 or something. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Okay, I don't care. He still says go. That's the only Thanksgiving I'm looking at here. Okay, straight up. Divine being. I just say yes, even if I'm talking to myself and everybody else. It's okay. Oh, yes, and I want to invite the Spanish groups. I know Dyra is inviting you. You know, we'll have a session that can be all in Spanish, except for me because I was speaking. But anyone will be invited to come. I'm just putting that out there. You know, invite course groups. They want to have joining sessions and learn how to join in light. See, now we have all these beings that can help extend what Jesus is teaching. How to look directly and simply with him and hear and speak his voice. And you can talk to him, ask him, is this my function to help extend this? Because as he says, it's not for anyone. It's one for a purpose. It's holy purpose. Listen, speak, listen, speak. So we really learn how to tune in to the Jesus channel and get past any kind of resistance, embarrassment. However, the ego likes to decorate what it means to talk to Jesus. Like I'm going to get hauled away or the funny thing is when you start talking to him, you know, even if you get hauled away, it's a desired experience. But you could work with them first on that. Jesus, is there any desire to get hauled away for speaking?
Lock her up.
Lock them up. That reminds me like of India. Like you start talking to Jesus or Krishna or whatever, you get put on a pedestal over there. You know. In the US, we're going to lock them up. You talk to Jesus. Doesn't matter, because you can talk to him in jail too. You know, that's the great news. And be totally happy, regardless of circumstance. But it's worth asking. Jesus, do I have any? Yeah, he's just offering happiness in every circumstance. So I think we started this chapter. I can't even remember where we are, but I'm here to look at it. So obviously I must need to see something here, because he's bringing my attention to it. Oh, so much love. You get those love cuddles. You get those. Oh, you turn into infinite light and ask. You'll get the little cuddle. Love cuddle, because it's a reminder of the symbolic of the turning in to ask, is this divine expression? What a question. Like when something comes up in the mind and you're thinking about doing it, you're not sure. That was helpful. He showed me that question. Is this divine expression? That cuts a lot of chaff right there. Chaff away. Is this divine expression and wholeness? Love as it is, whole and full? Or am I acting out of some conceptual play of consciousness? Chapter 3, Beyond the World. That's a concept too, what it's like to be beyond the world. Ego, sure, that's death. See that's a concept, what beyond the world is. It's hilarious. We're not even in this world. Ask Jesus. He keeps reminding me that, you're not really, you're not really here. And several beings, this is reflections coming out. Obviously, I need to hear it because I'm hearing it under a number of beings saying things like, Jesus is telling me I'm not really here. So there it is. I'm not really here. Jesus, am I not really here? Hear the answer. Am I really in this world? Ask the light. And I love this so much on the joining, where Jesus is telling everyone, this is not what you think it is. That's so good. It's not what you think it is. It's so good. Well, let's start with infinite light of being. Where else would we go? In the light of divine being and honesty of God. What's here before all thought? All feelings, all emotions, if they just laid to rest gently aside, or give them to Jesus, if that works, to see what's here. Just notice what happens when you focus on light. The relaxation of infinite light. So that we can see the contrast when we congeal into an object and try to have an objective experience, to develop a relationship with objects. Beyond the world. As soon as you are ready to admit you are not an object acted on in this world, and that what you experience is desired experience. You are ready to quickly see far beyond the world, to see that nothing that you seem to have miscreated inside of you can ever change your true identity. That in truth, you no longer want to hold on to ideas about who you are and what the world is, because you know that it cannot bring you happiness. We can ask Jesus that. Jesus, do I realize the world truly can't bring me happiness? That's why we're all here together, because we see the world's not bringing us happiness. It's so key. It's so key what he's offering us with the looking directly at the desire to deny divinity. Because we're admitting in that one sentence, I desire an experience, that everything, as he says in the Course, everything I think I want, everything I see, I'm experiencing as I desire. And to go so directly to the desire to see it's wanted. Admitting that desire. Yes, I admit it, Jesus. I admit the desire. He'll take us beyond the world with that. That's what we're all calling for. Transcendence. That's why we're all brought together from all over the world. Because the call of our heart is to transcend the idea of a personal identity. And he's fulfilling the promise that mighty companions will be given and a means will be given. A simple, direct means to go far beyond the world together. By looking at where we desire to be in a world. Where we desire an experience of saying no to who we are. And yet he's making this so gentle and fast. But it's our willingness. See that it's the willingness that carries the power of heaven. I love when he says that in a new covenant and reminds how all of heaven is behind willingness. But he's telling us directly right here that we're all ready to go so far beyond metaphysics, the conceptual idea. He's pointing us to direct divine experience, that the light's already here. And he kept saying over and over, these light circles are revelation readiness. The revelation that light is all there is. And to let that combust into what is. That there can't be a person apart from the whole, to see the impossibility in divine light that there could be. That's all we're here gathered together to see, the impossibility that infinite light could be anything other than infinite light. Indeed, you can see that what you miscreated does not actually exist. That's direct. In the light of divine being, in honesty of God, does any miscreation exist in infinite light of being? In our direct experience. Jesus, do I already know that the miscreation is unreal? And here is the answer. In truth, do I already know that the miscreation is unreal? And you can hear the yes in your heart. Okay. Jesus, am I ready to go deeper to see beyond this world? Have I had enough play and consciousness? Am I just ready to just go with you, to have you show me everything? To show me that I'm all the love that God made in its totality, complete, whole. He says your Father would have you know this now, sooner than later. Okay, Jesus. What do we need to see? That you are whole and complete. Just admit it. That the light doesn't know what being incomplete is. And how loved you are by God. Would you invite that love? He says, I'll show you a love so far beyond this world. He says, stay with me so you can make no mistakes about who you are. No errors of thought today for you. No errors. Thank you, Jesus. A day without a single error of thought. Is that possible? Ask him. Without a single condemnation of ourselves. Can you ask him, is that possible, Jesus? He said it's the only honesty, actually. Wow, okay, only honesty. The only honesty there is innocence. Now you are ready to admit your desire for an experience other than peace and happiness. Yes. Jesus, am I ready to admit my desire for an experience other than peace and happiness? It is powerful to see that because you created the desire for experience, you can end the desire and thus quickly transcend all pain and suffering. Go ahead, let's go for the gusto. All of the divine power of the universe and beyond is here right now, so why not? I love that. Muji said, why not today? Let's ask Jesus, Jesus, do we need to go beyond today? See what he says. We need one day beyond today, one more minute to accept all the divine power that we are. I've never heard him say one more minute's needed, but he understands that below our level of awareness, we're hiding little tuck-in little pockets, little hidden pockets. Ask him, Jesus. Do I like having those little hidden pockets? Ask him. And he says, oh, you're going to help me anyway, aren't you? It's like the squirrels. You know, you see squirrels if you've ever had a pet squirrel. I mean, he just was wild. And the chipmunks too. And those things, I don't know how they do it. They bury those nuts. They never remember where the nuts are. They just keep coming back for more because they know you'll feed them, first of all. You can ask Jesus, was I like a squirrel burying all my nuts out there somewhere, burying all the denials out there somewhere? And keeping little pocket nuggets. Ask him to have little nugget pockets hidden all over the place. Oh, no. And definitely need you. But he is saying you could give them all in. You could turn them all in, all the bazookas and all that. You know, open up your jacket. Okay, here's this knife, and stabbing myself, hitting myself on the head with a hammer. Here's this one, Jesus. He said, give it all up today. You don't have to, don't feel obligated to keep them. This is a message from our sponsor. He's just showing how light it is, really. You know, he's not searching you so you can go to jail. He says, turn in the weapons so you can be free. It is powerful to see because you created desire for experience. So, okay, let's just be in the admission. This is the true, it's just admission. It's different, confession. This is just admitting, okay. This is admitting we are divine, powerful being, the one. The power of the one. That's all we're admitting today. We're divine. You're right, Jesus. He said you'd be quite happy with that admission. You'd be quite happy with that admission. You're a divine being. Oh, it is powerful to see because you created desire for experience. Okay, so let's ask him. Jesus, did I miscreate the desire for experience? And hear what he says. Am I willing to admit he says that's really the key here. The key is to admit the misuse of divine power. The miscreation, just admit it. Okay, I wanted miscreation. Because the longer you hide from that admission, more it just hurts. Ask them, am I going to hurt if I don't admit this miscreation? He says all the pain in the world comes from not admitting. And see, the more the pain gets excruciating, the more that's what it takes sometimes. But remember, Jesus said it's not necessary. Pain is not necessary. It is powerful to see that because you created the desire for experience, you can end the desire. So let's just ask them, Jesus, am I responsible for ending the desire, for ending all desires not to be light? The only answer I get is yes. That's all you're responsible for, though. Does he say anything about in there, when you go in there, does he say, oh, and by the way, you're to be guilty about it? See, that's not his plan. He's just saying, be willing to admit that you desire it. Did I desire an experience of creating a world? And we can do it slowly. Did I desire an experience of miscreating a world? And am I willing to admit it? And to see that I'm innocent. And accept that I'm fully innocent. Am I willing to forgive myself everything? Every little teeny tiny scrap. Am I willing to forgive myself? Because that's where the hitch comes, where you're unwilling to forgive yourself. That's why you notice in the joining session, he puts us on a little pause when you're asking for a miracle. We can always have miracles. Ask him, can I always have miracles? Yes. But you won't experience miracles if you desire not to have one. You can ask him, will miracles come in without my desire for them? See, no, because you're desire for experience is the antithesis of the miracle. It's the way that consciousness says no to a miracle. Ask Jesus, is the desire that I have the way I say no to a miracle? So see, you're entitled to nonstop miracles because miracles are expressions of love, and you're love. Ask Jesus, am I love? He says, I can tell you that you're love, but you desire not to be love. Because your Father doesn't know anything other than love. Does my Father, Jesus, not know anything other than love? And hear the answer. Love can only create itself. You, who are love. True creation is the expression, is love, expressing as it is, total, complete. You can ask Jesus, he'll tell you. The question is, are you willing to accept the answer, like welcome that answer? I'm love, totality. And like breathe it in, like it's the only thing of value, infinite, unchanging love, and nothing else matters. Thus, quickly transcend all pain and suffering. So here's where the rubber meets the road, where we ask Jesus, Jesus, do I have all the divine power right now to end all suffering and pain for good? Am I given that power? He says, you've always had that power. It's like Dorothy, right? Wizard of Oz. Jesus, is it as simple as clicking my heels to go home? You can ask him. He says, everything I would tell you, yet you would desire an experience other way. I would tell you you're home already. Am I home already, Jesus? And hear his answer, yes. Right now. Am I infinite right now, Jesus? Am I wholly, whole, and complete right now, Jesus? This is where self-honesty is essential. That's all we're talking about here, self-honesty. We need him to teach us what self-honesty is. Because the ego's idea of honesty is to tell a story about what happened and compare notes to see if somebody else's story. He's teaching us the honesty of God, the only honesty, your light. And then admitting, oh, right, I don't want to be light. And therefore I need a miracle for that, trying to say no to light. In A Course in Miracles, I shared the beliefs that you would hold dear about the world. These are the denials of divinity. You have merely to see that if you're not experiencing perfect peace and perfect happiness at all times, this means that you still hold beliefs with a greater value than true identity. Now is the time to express the desire to release them from your holy mind. Jesus, it is my desire to release all the beliefs in A Course in Miracles from my holy mind. Do I have the power to do that? And here's the only answer is yes, we've always had Dorothy's always had the power. The ego goes, I don't believe it. Then we can work with Jesus. Just find out his voice, because is the light going, I don't believe I have the power? See if the infinite light's having any doubts about having the power. See, the infinite light doesn't have a belief in there. And it doesn't have a story. Doesn't have a storyline. We look in the light. Now is the time to express the desire to release them from your holy mind. And so you will release yourself from the dream of separation. Release ourselves, release yourself. The power of a divine being to cease to dream. And just see how we hold all the power for that. And always have had it. Jesus, have I always had the power to release myself from the dream? Infinite power. He says you just like pretending that you do not have all the power to immediately release yourself from the dream. That's why I have come, because you don't believe you have the power. Thus, that's why we rely on his power. until such a time we see that his power is the same as our power. You can ask him, Jesus, is my power any different from your power? Is my power the same? It's just acceptance of divine power is all it is. And ceasing to deny. Accepting that that's when it gets funny, when you see that you have had all the power all along, and also see that you're innocent or saying no. That's why I laugh now when he says, yep, you still have it. Okay. Because I know he'll help me. I know he'll help me see it differently. I said in the course that all beliefs are real to the believer. Yet, without providing support for the believer, you will see that no beliefs exist. So, Jesus, am I providing support to the believer? I'm willing to see it. He says, just see where your allegiance is, that you have an allegiance to someone who believes. He says, just contemplate divine power. Contemplate divine power. Infinite, unchanging power. The lion that lays down with the lamb. And you'll see, he says that you've always had it. You always will have it. It's the only thing that's given to you by the Father. The only thing original to you is divine power. And that you're not saying yes, and you're not a little package of limitation. And Jesus, you're telling me that I have the divine power right now to cease to deny myself all the love of the Father. See that he's never going to tell you no to that question. Amen. That's what he's saying. Contemplate divine power. It's beautiful.